In a globalized world, strategic alliances are fundamental for the expansion of any business. For this purpose, companies turn to figures such as joint ventures, which allow them to penetrate more easily in foreign markets. However, this also involves facing challenges such as difference in culture, laws, and so forth. Let's see what an expert says about joint ventures.
A joint venture is a commercial arrangement between two independent economic entities, and the joint venture is essentially those two parties coming together to achieve a common goal. So it might be to sell a product, it might be to sell a service. That's why you would have a joint venture to achieve perhaps something that one of the parties could not achieve on their own. Well, a joint venture agreement will include the term and scope of the agreement. So the term obviously determining the length of time by which the joint venture is going to exist. The scope of the project will obviously determine the services or the products that are going to be produced by the joint venture. It could have the financial contributions, so one party might be contributing more financially to the joint venture than the other. There could be confidentiality obligations as well, particularly if one party is bringing a lot of trade secrets to the joint venture. So a number of different things that you would incorporate into a joint venture agreement. The potential pitfalls of not having a joint venture agreement in place, first and foremost, would be the uncertainty. The parties might enter into conversations about the joint venture agreement, and those two parties might interpret the conversations differently. So by having a joint venture agreement in place, you're taking away that uncertainty. You've got a document that the parties can refer to. If you don't have the joint venture agreement and you have that uncertainty, it can lead to a dispute between the parties and potentially litigation, which obviously incurs legal costs for the parties, which are entirely avoidable. And it can also damage the reputation of one or both parties if they've agreed to deliver a particular project, and as a result of a dispute, that project gets delayed. Business owners put an awful lot of time and effort into making sure their business grows. Providing them with legal advice which either protects their interests or enables them to grow is something that we've been doing for years at Stevenson's. A joint venture agreement is essential if you're entering into a JV with another party. The document itself is going to protect your interests. It's going to give you something in writing to fall back upon. So a fundamental document that needs to be drafted if you're considering entering into a joint venture with another party.
The company Almond International has entered the Chinese market together with its local partner Chongqing, but both parties have been experiencing criteria problems which could put the operation in China at risk.
Good morning, Juan.
Good morning, Liu.
How many companies have you interacted with today? Well, you got up in the morning, took a shower, washed the hair, used the hair dryer, ate breakfast, ate cereals, fruit, yogurt.
Wang looked skeptical. He was good at his job, having closed several key deals that had kept the business afloat during its early years. But he was also at the center of conflict between the venture partners. The Chongqing executives were increasingly vocal about how difficult it was to operate according to European standards, particularly the rules against gifts and commissions. Such incentives were commonly accepted in China and routinely employed by Almond's competitors. Trying to do business without them, Wang argued, was foolhardy.
Sorry, I disagree. This is China, not Europe.
Almond was headquartered in Munich and listed on the New York Stock Exchange, as well as the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, meaning it was required to adhere to the U.S. government for corrupt practices, bribing of foreign government official U.S. listed companies. You knew the rules made SAFE more difficult But Almond's policy was clear, and he wanted to make sure that every member of the sales team understood it.
Thank you for your participation. Just for to clarify it, at Almond, ethics are non-negotiable. We need to remember these laws as we go about our business. We are not just a Chinese company, we are a global one.
However, Liu had taken the same hard line on safety and environmental practices. The production facilities in Chongqing had been built according to German national standards, and all the safety equipment, as helmets, shoes, and protective clothing, had come from Europe. The Chinese partner had called this investment wasteful and frivolous, luxurious expenditures that the joint venture couldn't and shouldn't afford.
2 weeks later.
Hey George, how you doing? You look very worried.
I'm worried about this meeting, Lou. I had a disturbing conversation with Wang last week. Wang is close to making a huge sale, 30 million yuan, but the customer's purchasing manager is insisting a 1% commission. He says that that's what he's been offered from other companies.
We can't do that.
That's what I said, but Wang was insistent. He said that if we can't do that, we should at least be able to offer the manager a trip to Europe, a visit to Armin headquarters.
Why did you say to that?
No, of course, no. But he accused me of jeopardizing the venture. He said that we foreigners have so much money, we don't care about the performance of the business.
You did the only thing you could do.
I can't believe foreigners have such a suggestion of flag, especially after the training.
Okay, let's see what happened in the meeting later on.
Much later.
Good morning, gentlemen. I really think that we need to tackle this situation about Wang's sale. For me, it's pretty important to do it, otherwise we will be in trouble. That was Cheng Dong, the chairman of the joint venture and Chongqing number 2 chemical executive, raised the commission issue. His leadership position was one of the many concessions Almond had made to lure his company into the joint venture.
Chen, we cannot concede on these issues.
To the best of my knowledge, many foreign-owned companies reward Chinese customers for their business. Some companies organize overseas visits, some provide management training, some arrange golf outings. This is good for business. This is good business practice in China. We need to be flexible in order to compete. If we cannot provide the commission, let's at least consider a visit to Munich headquarters, guys.
Commissions or trips is all the same. Business bribery. We can get order without these tactics.
Orders? What orders? We made only 60% of our target for this quarter. When we set up this joint venture, we signed our very best people to it. Our best technicians, our best salespeople, best managers. Why? Because we believe we could manufacture some of the best chemicals produced in the world. And in turn, we get more orders. But look at this. Nothing but horrors. We have yet to see any return at all. And now, I heard rumors that you're planning to launch SAP ERP software to synchronize with headquarters. When will the spending stop? We need a tight control on costs. We can possibly meet our profitability target when our expenses are so high. We want to choose the finance director going forward so we can give this venture a real chance at succeeding. We see no other options, guys.
There are no exceptions to be made. Almond must be a law-abiding corporate citizen as should every Almond employee. Chen, thank you for your being honest about your concern. At this point, I think all these issues are still open for discussion. You will take a 15 minutes break, please? Liu, what should we do? Do you think we should concede to this demand?
This venture is critical for us. You know that?
I know, but we need to stand strong, not give in.